Miles Biggs, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Another day of increasing your influence and joining you from where are you sitting right now? Somewhere in central Pennsylvania, I think, right?
Yes, somewhere in Central PA, a little town no one's ever heard of. But
I
here I
doubt
am.
that. I doubt that. So, listen, today's going to be an interesting day because let me get some of this branding off that I have up here. Um, we're going to answer questions from people that have sent in questions to us, and there's been quite a few. And I think it's a great thing to just kind of start walking through. We've been talking about building your brand, and I think we're going to pivot a little bit to increasing your influence. Really almost the same thing, but I think just a little bit of a different spin on how you go about doing that in the business world. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think a brand can seem a little overwhelming, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of talk about being influential or influencers, and you can have influence without necessarily having to put a brand to it. So a lot of similar topics, but just a slight mindset shift in the way we approach things.
Right, for sure, for sure. So listen, if everybody is out there, you're listening, please like and hit that share button while we're having this live feed so we can get more people in. And also ask questions and tell us where you're from. We're always interested. This show's been going just for a couple weeks now. We're starting to build a little bit of a brand maybe, but it takes time. And that's all about building your influence, right? And it's all about building your brand. And we're doing it here on this show. So why don't we hop into it?
Do it. Let's get started.
All right. First question's up on the screen. I've been pushing out content for days, weeks, months, years, decades, and I'm still not gaining a lot of traction. Should I stop? What do you think, Miles?
Do you want to stop? That's how I always answer that one. People ask that question, and I know you've gotten it sometimes too. I feel looking for that magic answer, right? Just do this one thing and it's going to all click and work. And
Yeah.
Unfortunately, everyone, that doesn't exist, right? So when people ask me if they should stop, that's what I first ask them is, do you want to? Because if you're not enjoying the hustle and grind that everybody talks about with content creation, then yeah, you should stop. Whether or not you have 1 million followers or one, right? If you're not liking it, don't do it. There's plenty of other things you can do with your time that you'll actually enjoy. So I would say if you do love it though, and you're not gaining traction, then no, don't stop. You just have to make adjustments.
That's
The
right.
market will always tell you what it wants and what they like, right? So if people aren't resonating, you have to keep trying new things. If you've tried one type of thing for a while and you're not getting anywhere, you got to switch it up and try something new and keep doing that until you finally land on what resonates with people and what gains traction.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And you can't go by likes and shares and followers and who's tuning in at what time because it's all over the place. People are busy. There's a lot of noise out there already. I mean, as Gary Vee would say, attention is the greatest asset in the world.
Right. Yeah, it
Gaining
is.
people's attention. And for myself personally, it's taken years and years and years for anything to start taking off. And even today, we sit here and I put something out there and I don't know what happens to it. It looks like I lost myself on the screen.
Yeah. I don't know if that was meant to bring your point home. You don't know what happens to it and then you disappear. But yeah, I agree with you, Dave. I've been podcasting since 2017. I know you've been doing videos for about a year or two longer than I've been doing podcasts. And it's easy to get wrapped up in the data and the analytics of it all and feel like you should be getting more listeners, downloads, likes, whatever metric you want to put into it. But it's never about the quantity if you're doing it right. It's about the quality and about going deep, not necessarily going wide. So having a real impact on the audience you do have instead of worrying about the audience that you don't have.
Well, that's exactly it. So I think the biggest takeaway, and I got my glitch fixed there. It's funny. I moved some stuff around and I unplugged it and it said it had enough, so I had to plug it back in. You gotta love live feed. And you gotta just roll with it. That's what I'm learning. So perfect. Great answer. Let's roll on to the next one. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Should I be on all the social platforms or just pick one? I'll let you go.
Yes and yes. People might get mad at me because I feel like that's my answer for everything, right? But it's all about perspective. So not I'll say no, not every single platform, because talking about time and attention being the greatest resource, that applies for you as a content creator too. There should be one or two that you choose to be your flagship platforms where you're putting the majority of your content out there. But you should be trying new platforms as they come and go. I mean, what would happen if, LinkedIn went away tomorrow and the only platform you were on was LinkedIn? Then your whole business, your whole brand is gone with that platform. It's important to be constantly trying and experimenting with all the new things that are out there to make sure you're staying with the times. You can point people to that main platform of LinkedIn, for example, on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, TikTok, whatever. But you should experiment and still have one that's your main one. I guess that's my short answer. Yeah.
Well, I kind of agree with that. I mean, I'm mainly a LinkedIn person. I have YouTube, LinkedIn. I have a new website coming out. I dabble, with some of the other stuff on Facebook and other social media, but I need to get better at that as well, just for that specific reason. But I do believe that when you start, you need to really be good at one of them and move with it. We all have that one that we like to do. And I think, for me personally, be really great at one and then, pushing the content to the other ones, but doing it in a way to where it's not taking up all your time, but you got to have some focus.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a phrase out there that I love. It's called habit stacking. Great book recommendation for folks would be Atomic Habits. They talk about this, but it's about what you said. You pick one, you get really good at it, and then you can add the next and stack the habit of posting to all these platforms and creating content on top of one another. If you try to bite it all up at once, you're going to get frustrated. You're not going to be as effective, and you're going to blame it on a bunch of other reasons other than the fact that you bit off more than you can chew. So start small and then grow big once you figure out what works.
Yeah, no, 100%. So perfect question. Thank you for submitting that. All right. How do I get speaking engagements? This is a good one, right? Because we were just talking about this, and I'm going to run with this one a little bit. Speaking engagements are tricky because you have to ask. People are looking for new content all the time. You have to ask. You're looking to get speaking engagements and you want to get your name out there and you want people to pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, I'll pay you $5,000 to come speak, or $2,500 to come speak, or hey, just come speak and hopefully you network, right?
Right.
It doesn't just happen. You have to ask, you have to get out on stage, and you have to meet people. And, for me personally, one of the places I started was Toastmasters. And I still go to some Toastmasters classes every once in a while. It's just a great place to go. But believe it or not, people look for speakers through Toastmasters or other speaking clubs in your area, wherever you may be. So, I mean, for me personally, before I started being asked to speak at certain places, I spent most of my time begging, pleading, and clawing, saying, let me speak. I can do it. I won't let you down. How about yourself?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. My first major speaking engagement was one of those sort of be careful what you ask for types of scenarios, right? It was actually with the Building Systems Council. And I know you've had Devin Perry on one of the other shows. And I was talking to Devin at the Building Systems Council Summit at the end of 2018. And I was really just sort of fresh into podcasting, less than a year in, and was talking to him about how I thought it could be a great avenue for the association to spread the message and talking to him all about podcasting. And he said, hey, this is a great idea. I think people would love to hear about this. Would you like to speak at the International Builder Show about this? And I was like, sure. I wasn't what I was going for, right? But it just proves your point about they're looking for topics. So if you can prove that you have a passion and a knowledge for a subject, then maybe that invite does get extended. Yeah. And so I ended up speaking that next year and then the following year about podcasting, all from just a simple conversation with an existing contact I had. So I think you do have to ask for it, but then even just talk to your network, tell them what you're doing, tell them what you're passionate about, and then they might even give you some ideas for ways you could speak that you hadn't thought of yet. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, that's really it. You got to get out there and ask. You got to put yourself out there. Nobody becomes famous overnight for some people, I guess, do, but most people do not. And ask yourself, because even like at IBS, like you were saying, you speak out there. I was speaking at Tech Bites this year. They rate you. I mean, you get a rating, and if you don't do good, you're not coming back. And that's kind of how it works. So
Yeah, and the other thing I would say would be you can do a speaking engagement every single day from your phone. We're live right now on LinkedIn. You can go live on YouTube. You can go live on Facebook. Pick a topic, set up your phone, and speak, and put the content out there. Because if there's an event organizer, before they say, yeah, I want you to speak, they want to know that you can, that you're knowledgeable, that you're not afraid, you're not going to clam up, you're not going to stutter. You've got to prove that you're going to add value to that event before they just say, yeah, sure, come on stage. You can do that by creating content, even if you're speaking to the wall, put a camera in front of it, speak to the world, and gain that credibility for being an expert in your field. And then you can land those speaking engagements.
And that's 100% accurate. And for those of you that are scared to speak out there, the only way you get better is by doing it. And really, you'll find out that it's not that hard. So just get out there and do it. Great question. All right, Myles, let's move on to the next question here. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Should I encourage people who work for me to also grow a personal brand? That is my favorite question.
Well, then I'll let you run with it.
It is my favorite question because I say, yeah, heck yeah. You know, if you have some employees that can be really good brand ambassadors and they want to talk about the product, the good, bad, the ugly, I mean, it's all going to come out sometimes. But absolutely, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea to have their network talking to their network and so on and so off. You know, what happens is people start doing this and they're representing a company and the pride shows. And they start feeling like they're part of that company. They feel like they're in the fold. They feel like they're part of the thread. And that's a really, really powerful thing for a company to use to personal brand. I mean, that's why we see CEOs out there, you know, personal branding. The T-Mobile guy does it all himself, right? I can't remember his name, but he's all over the place, that CEO. But there's also a lot of people in the ranks that are also doing it for him. So I'm all about it. I think it's the best thing you can do for your company, especially if you have some people that would be good on camera or podcast.
Right. Yeah, I think the idea of personal branding, before there was a name to it, you could call it relationships. Think of anybody that's in sales. They have a brand associated with them. There are guys that will leave a company, work for another, and they're bringing clients with them because the clients are going to go wherever that person is because that's where the relationship is. So you could call it a brand or you could call it just being good at your job. But for sure, it's good to encourage employees to grow how they're known within an industry because that's going to benefit the company. And also on the flip side, if you're discouraging this within your employees, you're going to have high-performing talent that leave because they don't want to feel like they're being micromanaged or under a microscope and have to watch what they say or what they're doing because they're, you know, they get one of these, you know,
right.
They're trying to put themselves before the company. That's often not the case. It's those people that see more that can be done and want to do it and they're go-getters. Let them do it. Otherwise, someone else will let them do it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. You know what? And it's almost like a value add, almost like healthcare for some people, right? You're going to work here with us. We're going to allow you to build your own personal brand while helping build our brand. You know, all of a sudden you gain the influence and the notoriety and you become an expert in a company and in a field where normally you're just showing up at meetings or sitting behind a desk. You're never seeing anybody. So I think it's a great value add for a company to do. So I love it, love it, love it. So we have quite a few people tuned in. We got some questions coming. I just want everybody to know, please like and share if you are just tuning in. We are talking about increasing your influence today and answering questions that we have been receiving. And also, please put some questions in the comments, and we're going to ask those right here at the end of this segment. We're going to end probably about another 15 minutes of questions, and we'll be answering questions. Perfect. Moving on. How do you manage to maintain a personal life in addition to growing your professional pursuits? Life.
Hey, you have a personal life?
Yeah. Go ahead, Myles. I've been running at the mouth. I'll let you take this one first.
So this is a great question, and it's there's a lot out there on the internet that will make people believe if you're going to go all in on growing a business or growing a personal brand, you have to let all the other things go, right? There's no room to have both. For some people, that's the case. That's just how they're wired. And it's one of those chicken or the eggs. You don't know which came first. They didn't have a personal life, and so they dove into professional, or they dove into professional and they lost the personal. But actually one of the founders of the company I work for had this quote that he mentioned about, he was talking to a client and he was asking them how they managed to play so much golf, right? They played a lot of golf. And someone made the comment, I wish I could play more golf. And the guy said, well, you're thinking about it backwards. Play more golf first and then get everything else done. And that's how you'll play more golf. And so I think in many ways, it's as simple as that, being purposeful with your time. We talk about that being the greatest source of attention, but you have to decide what's important to you. If it's your personal life, it's your family time, you block out the time where that happens and work doesn't happen in those times. For me, my son's 2, he goes to bed around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Every night at around 5, between 5 and 8, I don't do anything. I'm making dinner, I'm hanging out with the family, I'm hanging out with my son. We do the bed, bath time, story time routine, right? I'm not scheduling podcast interviews or business calls on that time because that's important to me. I want to be present in his life. So, and then I go back to work. 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, I'm back up in my office and I'm working until midnight sometimes. And that's just what works for me. So I think it's choosing what's important and then scheduling around it. And then it's absolutely possible. I think it's forgetting about the idea of work-life balance because that makes it seem like they're at odds and you need to balance them. And it's really looking for work-life integration. How can you get it all done in 24 hours? That makes the most sense. It doesn't need to be 8 hours of work. And, it can be chopped up. You just have to find the rhythm that works.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You got to be very mindful of your time. Even for my world, the work doesn't really end. Between the day job, between the media stuff and everything else, it seems to be constant, and it really does. It comes down to a balance, a routine, and a rhythm. And that balance, routine, and rhythm gets thrown off every once in a while. Things come up, COVID-19, right? Now we got all kinds of other stuff that I'm engaged in right now that's taking some additional time. So you're absolutely right. I think you just have to decide what's important to you, put all the gray matter to the side, and focus on what it takes to get what you need to get done to get to the finish line. And that's absolutely right. So awesome. Sounds like you're a good dad too. I love it.
I try to be.
That's it.
Some days I feel like I'm better than others. But,
yeah. It's all right. Every day I'm threatening, you come in that door, we're all at home working. So, hey, maybe one day we'll have the kids on with us.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
All right. Next question. I struggle with setting and holding true to goals. How do you two manage this? So that's funny, right? Because we were just talking about that, and this kind of parlays into it. And I think we kind of answered it in some aspects.
Yeah. Do you want me to start?
Go. Have at it.
So goals, I love goals. And I thought I set goals for forever, for my whole life. I thought I was a goal setter. And then I realized I really wasn't. I was doing a terrible job at setting goals because they were just in my head. They were these figments of my imagination, these fleeting thoughts of what I wanted to do and how I get it done. But a goal is really not a goal until you write it down. It's really just wishful thinking. You're just thinking it, right? It's not a goal yet. Yeah. So writing it down for me has been huge. And with tools like Google Sheets and all these free things where you can literally set up these little to-do lists each week and say, this is what I'm going to get done, and plan your week out. Take 10 minutes on a Sunday to say, this is what I want to do this week. Start with one thing you're going to get done. When you're good at doing just one thing, stack another and another and another. And then that act of writing it down really helps you maintain focus on the fact that you said you were going to do something, and now you have to get it done. And you can take it one step further and share that with a circle of friends or professional contacts, or just post it to social media for some accountability and say, I'm going to get it done this week, and then follow up and say, you either got it done or you didn't. And for me, having that layer of accountability to other people has been a huge game changer for me, and what's helped me propel all the things that I have going on right now to be able to get it all done. So that's
yeah, for sure. And for me, it's the same thing. It's about focus. And what I have done is turned off all the dings that happen on my phone. And I try to be more intentional about when I check my emails or when I check social media, because it goes off every 5 seconds, and every 5 seconds you're distracted, And I think one of my goals this year was really to kind of put that down and be more focused on when I get to things, which allows me, like you said, to focus on the goals that I'm setting and get through my to-dos or task list that I have for each and every day. And again, I write those down. I use Google Task actually, and you can prioritize it. And I check it every morning, and sometimes I look at it and think it'll never end. And guess what? It never ends.
Yeah, you don't want
Always
to.
something to put up there.
Yeah, it's funny. So talking about the phone, right? Have you heard about the Closet app?
The Closet app, I have not.
Yeah. That's where you take your phone and just put it in your closet.
Is that like wrapping it in tinfoil?
Number one in the App Store, week after week.
Yeah.
That's what I've done with not even having it near me, right? And having the itch to check it. Put your phone in the closet, put it under your bed. Like, it's out of sight, out of mind until you accomplish what you need to accomplish, and then you go back to it.
So that's funny. Myles Big made it funny. I love it. The Closet app. You know what? That's a great idea. You should actually try and make that app somehow and see how it works. Find your phone in the closet.
Download the app. Step 2. Put your phone in the closet.
Yeah. Right. And do you have a door handle with like a key lock on it? You know, like key punch. That's what you need, so you can't even get to it.
Yeah, it's locked for a period of time, right? Until
Yeah. Love it. All right, last question, and then we're going to go to Q&A. How should I monetize my content? This is a tricky one, and it takes a long time. And I think that with monetizing content, one, you have to have some sort of brand or influence somewhere. That's key. And two, you have to think about, who your target audience is and what you do. For me, I am not about quantity of how many people I can get to follow me. I'm about the quality of the people that follow me. I don't need every, Tom, Dick, and Harry and Jane and following me. I need people that are very pertinent to the messages that we're putting out there every day. People that are innovators and are making change happen. And so for me personally, it doesn't matter if you have 10,000 followers and I only have 3,000 followers. My 3,000 followers are the people that somebody who would want to pay me are looking to get in touch with. And that's powerful. And that's how I look at it. So how do you monetize content? You got to build your audience, and you need to know who your audience is and who your niche is, in my opinion. And two, once you have that audience built and people are following you, the monetization, I think, really just kind of starts happening, but you still got to put it out there and you got to let people know, hey, this is what I'm doing. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And to just add on to it, that I think a mistake a lot of people make is trying to monetize their content from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Talk about going back to attention, this phrase in the beginning. People don't want ads shoved down their throat every single minute of the day. I just, after 3 years of podcasting, took on an affiliate where I'm just putting a line of text in the show notes for a promo code to offer people and getting some product in exchange. And it's not really making any money. It's like it's a supplements company. I work out to begin with, right? So now I get my protein for a little bit lower price. It's just a benefit for me. It might help somebody else, but you have to make it something first.
You're gonna flex for us?
No, I won't.
All right, just checking.
You got to make it something first, right? You got to make it something that people find value in. And then when you do monetize, they're going to want to return that value to you. If you can give something to somebody for free and build that loyalty and that engagement, when you do finally come out with something that they can buy, they'll buy it. If you're always trying to say, buy this, buy this, buy this, you're just like every other, traveling charlatan on the internet trying to make a quick buck. You got to change the short term for the long term. So just an example of how, right? One thing I did is I did the podcast for years, didn't do anything. And then I used all the podcasts for research and I wrote a book. And that book's going to come out later this year. And I can go to my audience and say, if I've ever brought you any sort of value, I'd really love for you to check out this book. Hopefully you get something from it. And then they buy the book. And then going back to how you get a speaking engagement, well, now I've got a book. Now I've leveled up in some authority, and I can speak about the book or sell the book at events, and it all starts to be a cycle that feeds itself. So it's just something to consider for everybody out there. Yeah,
no, I agree. That's perfect advice. And just don't monetize too early unless you are somebody. It's just going to backfire on you.
Yeah.
And make you look greedy. That's how I think.
Yeah. I think a lot of people feel that way as well. You know, you want it to be genuine. You want it to be a natural extension of the content and the brand you're putting out, and not just saying yes to any sort of opportunity that comes your way for the sake of the sort of knowledge.
Yeah, for sure. You know what? I have to say I'm really loving this format where we're answering people's questions, and hopefully it's bringing them value. I think this is the first time of the show that we're on time.
Look at that.
We're on time for a change, and I think I think it's great. So let's take a look at who tuned in, and let's get to some questions and answers. I have a banner for that too. Q&A. All right, so let's take a look on who we have tuned in today as we're growing this, and I'm really glad to see. So we have Matthew Cooper, who's Senior Vice President at PEG LLC. Thank you for tuning in. And no, I do not think we are related. I don't know Matthew Cooper, but
I was going to ask you that.
reach out. We might be related. John Magnan, always checking in. Hey, John, nice to see you. Jennifer Cooper, always checking in. Yes, that one I am related to. Ian Pope. Now this guy, Ian Pope's from England, and we go back. We have quite a history. Hey, Ian, I hope you are well, man. I hope everything's going well across the pond and everybody's hunkered down and being safe there. And then, of course, Andrew W. I don't know the W. He's a second to me. Father, husband, professional, listening with the intent to understand. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
That's what he has in there, listening with the intent to understand. How awesome is that? All right, so Jennifer said habit stacking. Good one, Myles. So there's a comment from Jennifer. That's about as good as your closet app for the phone.
Yeah,
that one I have to take with me. And then we have Etienne. Etienne, how are you, my friend? I love this guy. CEO, SIGA, North America. How to pick the people you surround yourself with once you get more attention. This is a good question. I mean, it's a really good question, and I mean, I have some comments on it for sure. You know, but
let you start then.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm just trying to find a way to do it without, you know, being that guy. But you know, there's trying to surround yourself with the people that have influence. When you have some sort of influence, or you get to a point where people are following you, I mean, it's tough because you really never know people's true intention. You really don't know people's true intention. And in the last year and a half, 2 years, you know, there's been several occasions where I thought somebody, you know, had my intention, and we were doing something together to find out that, you know, people were in it for themselves. And I think that's one thing you have to really kind of keep your head up about, because it's out there. People will take advantage of you to get ahead for themselves versus truly being an honorable, you know, friend type person. But then there's other people out there that are just the opposite. You know, they're all about, we'll go further together, and you got to love them as well. So that's really my biggest advice. How do you know that, Etienne? Trial and error. I mean, it's unless you just want to flat out say, are you a piece of crap or not? Most people aren't going to tell you that. So really, I think it's trial and error. And my grandfather always said, let your conscience be your guide. You know, if you get a gut feeling about somebody and it's not feeling right, then move on. And I know you are, Myles, and why we get along so well is I'm kind of a straight shooter. I'll play a little bit, but eventually I go, listen, I can't do this. And I'll tell you flat out if it's working for me or not. And I know you're the same way.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of how you'll save your sanity if you're growing a team or just deciding who to partner with as you gain influence, like we're talking about. Is you have to be upfront. You have to let people know what you expect out of the relationship and find out what they expect out of the relationship. And the sooner you can get to that point of understanding, the less, you know, headache and heartache that you'll end up experiencing. I also think it's important to, you know, work and surround yourself with the people who have been there before you got to a certain level, right? It's common advice, but I know personally, I've got friends, I've got family, I've got people that have known me for a long time and are doing very successful things professionally. And I've reached out to them from time to time for advice, or I need help on something. And I know who they are as a person, in addition to what they've done as a professional, and that they're not going to burn me for the sake of burning me, you know, or just to advance themselves. And so taking a step back and looking in the rearview mirror at your connections to see who do I know and who have I known that can help me and I can help them, is important. And even that last part, how can you help them? I really feel like if you lead with that question, even when you're trying to grow, if you put the focus on how you can be of value and of service to other people, you'll end up attracting the right kind of person, because what goes around comes around, you know?
Yeah. It's very true. I was just commenting. I don't know if you know Professor Nez. The Nez. He's he's got like 200,000 followers on YouTube or whatever, but he's on LinkedIn now. And last night I was listening to him and I made a comment on there, and it's the same thing. I find that helping others and promoting others is the best way to success, right? Because it'll come back to you. And I love doing it. There's nothing better in this world than saying, hey, check out so-and-so. They're doing amazing things. But you have to do it without expecting it in return, because you'll drive yourself crazy, and that's a big thing. And I think the biggest thing you can say is you can help yourself by helping others. And if you do it with a whole heart, you'll go that much further faster.
Yeah, totally agree.
So, well, that's it for the Q&A. Let's see if we have anything else in here. I'm going to refresh my screen because it doesn't always keep up with me here.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll just encourage folks, as you're watching right now, when you hear this played back, if we didn't get to your question or you thought of one while you're watching this, leave it in the comments section or send it to me in a message or Dave in a message on LinkedIn, and we can weave them into future episodes. We love hearing from folks, and I really feel like this is where folks get the best value. My favorite part of any speaking engagement is that pause when I say, okay, any questions? And then you finally get to hear what people are really there for at your talk, and not just what you're there to talk about. You find out what they are there to learn. And then that's where Dave and I can deliver the most value. So we want to hear them. Bring them on.
Yeah, for sure. So Jennifer said, isn't that how Gary Vaynerchuk grew his influence? He built his personal brand in conjunction with his business.
Yeah,
he did. With Absolutely. His wine business, right?
His father's wine business.
Yeah, that's right.
So it wasn't even his. He grew up his family's wine company and then left and put everything that he was making right back into the company, lived humbly, and just learned and stayed in the background for decades, and then stepped forward on his own and was an early adopter for a lot of social media platforms. Back to that question of, should you be on just one? That guy tries absolutely everything and learns from everything he does and rolls into the next endeavor. So he's a fail fast and fail often kind of guy. Document the journey. All of his teachings are things that I definitely subscribe to. He's a good example.
I do as well. How could you not? Look what he's done. You can't argue it. You may not like his the way he talks, his foul mouth. Some people it doesn't run well with, but that's what's made him what he is. The way he just goes at it naturally. And there's a lot to learn there, but his lessons are very powerful. And you just got to keep putting content out there, and that's what we say. Do it scared, right, Myles?
That's right. Absolutely.
Do it scared. Get out there. Pull your camera out. Pull your microphone out. Start doing it. You want to grow your personal brand. This internet thing, social media is here to stay. It looks like even more so today. So if you want to build your influence in your business and the people you work with, I highly, highly suggest that you try building your influence through social media and just talking about the things you love. Oh, John Magnan, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help other people get what they want. Zig Ziglar quoted that.
Oh, great. Yeah.
I love Zig.
Zig either. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Great quote.
John, you're pulling out the old school book right there. The old school. And Etienne wrote back, Dave. Yes, absolutely. I asked him if we answered his question. Appreciate it very much. Love the comment to care and worry about the followers you have and not about the ones you don't. Amazing talk. Thank you for sharing. Love the message. Love the message to not do it for money, but because it is your passion. 100%. I have to introduce you to this guy, and everybody else needs to know Etienne because, he's young. He's full of energy. Etienne, actually, I'm going to have you on the show. Why don't we bring Etienne on the show?
There you go. That's the best way to introduce somebody. Yeah.
I'm going to bring him on. If you're listening, give me a yes or a no right now. I'm putting you on the spot. 1 o'clock Thursday. Let's see if he answers. He needs to be on the show. We'll talk to him. He's really done well for himself. He's a real young guy. He's got one of those great accents that everybody loves, and
Nice.
and he's has a lot of responsibility. So he'd be a lot of fun for us. So hopefully he hears this and he gets back to us, and we will have him on the show next week. Well, listen, we're about 30 seconds out from our 40 minutes. I don't know what to do with myself. We got 20 seconds. Anybody else have any other questions before we go?
I'm watching too. Anybody?
Yes. Etienne, what? Yes, 1 p.m. Eastern, my friend. Eastern time. That's the worst part about me, Myles. I think everybody lives on the East Coast.
Yeah, I've run into that before as well.
Yeah. 1 p.m. Eastern next Thursday at 1 o'clock. So, all right, Myles, I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun today. I think everybody else had a lot of fun. We're just going to keep jabbing away at this and grow our influence, grow our audience, and I think as more and more people find out about us and join us, it's just going to keep growing. But like we're telling all of you out there, it takes time. And I have a following. Myles, you have a following. But this is something new for us. It takes time. Don't quit. Keep at it. Do it scared. Take us away, Myles.
Until you next time.
We'll see you next time. And yes, it's a big honor. Etienne is looking forward to it. So it's going to be a 3-way next Thursday. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll see you, Myles, man. Be safe.
Yeah. See ya.
All right. Bye now.